friendly neighborhood psychotherapist here, qualifying, Joe Dinsdale from Multi-Therapy. I am here today to do something a little experimental. I'd like to try out something that just came up with, just decided to do randomly. And it's basically a choose your own adventure around sort of surviving a scary movie. So I have been really into scary movies recently, especially since Halloween is coming up. I think I'm very scary movie coded. I'm trying to do my best to get into the spooky season. So this choose your own adventure kind of thing will be basically me. I've got my setup over here, and what's gonna happen is I'm gonna read through the story and you guys get to pick what I do next. And it's gonna be a little spooky. So if you're easily scared, you might want to tune off, okay? I can't see who's in the chat yet. Hopefully, do I have to click anything to see? Oh, hi Joe, there we go. Just wanted to make sure I can see people's comments and I can see yours. So how are you doing? Did you catch the beginning of the stream where I was kind of explaining what we're gonna do today? I'll give them a second to answer. Maybe I'll wait a few minutes just in case anybody else wants to come on. Yeah, so basically, I came up with this really weird, kind of unhinged plan. You guys know me, can never do anything completely normal. And I came up with this kind of choose your own adventure type deal where you guys are going to choose for me, and I got a story about, oh my gosh. Hello? Demi, is that you? How did you get access to YouTube from your vortex? That's very bizarre. That's so strange. Okay. Maybe that's Demi, maybe it's not. Oh, you're saying it is you. Okay, I guess we have Demi the famous faceless roommate here. That's so exciting. Demi, are you gonna help us out on this choose your own adventure? Yeah, so basically, that's so funny. Hi, Demi. Oh, I don't know Spanish, unfortunately, Pablo. Not sure what you said there. I know a little bit of French. Okay, it is confirmed that is Demi, the faceless roommate. I'm so glad you made it, Demi. Wonderful. So I'm going to start my spooky story over here, and you guys get to choose the adventure. Hi, Milton. Nice to see you here. All right, so of course, my name is Johanna Dinsdale, psychotherapist, clinical hypnotist. And I'd like to set the scene here, the spooky scene. All right, so I have just woken up and I have a splitting headache. I realize that I am tied to a chair. It looks like I'm in a hunter's den. The air is thick with dust, and there's dozens of taxidermied animals all over the walls. I'm not sure how I got here. The last thing I remember is walking the hypno hound. So I look around and I try to pull my arms free from these ropes, but it's not doing anything. So here's where you guys come in. You get to decide what happens next. Should I A, cut the ropes on a boar's tusk, taxidermied, or should I attempt to shuffle the chair towards the fire and burn the ropes off? A is the boar, and B is the fire. Whoever answers first gets to choose. A or B? A. We got an answer. A. Oh, a bunch of people saying A. Perfect. All right. That means I try to cut the ropes with the boar's tusk. So I struggle over there towards the boar's tusk, using my legs to kind of shuffle the chair forward. I use my tactical box breathing that people use in the military, which is where you take 4 seconds of breath in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, and 4 seconds rest. This is a type of task that military people use to keep their nervous systems calm during battle. And I know that because I'm a therapist. So I'm struggling over to the boar's tusk, and I start to strain my arm trying to cut the rope off. And finally I'm able to just start to begin to fray the ropes. Slowly they begin to cut. But suddenly I hear a loud thunk coming from the hallway just behind the door. I hear something moving. The rope is cut about 90% of the way. Should I try to burst through the ropes with my adrenaline? That's A. Or B, immediately initiate mindful observation, seeing what else is in the room to help me. Should I do A, super Hulk out the ropes, or B, mindfulness observation? Let's see what you guys choose. A, Hulk out of the ropes. I like it. So I start to flex my muscles and tense them and flex them and tense them. And finally, I burst free from the ropes. Thank goodness. I leap to my feet and I grab an antler of the nearby deer. I'm in this taxidermy animal room and I don't know how I got here. It's so scary. What should I do next? All of a sudden, I hear the door handle from the other side shaking. I hear a chuckle coming from the hallway. Sleep well, therapist. I'll be back for our session soon. The footsteps retreat down the hall. Oh no, I only have a few minutes before they return. Should I scan the room for anything that could be used for a barricade? That's A. Or B, shatter the single small leaded glass window above the fireplace using the antler. Shatter the window, B, or A, do an inventory. What are you guys gonna choose? B. Okay. B. That is shattering the small glass window above the fireplace. I take my antler, and I know that time is critical. So I shatter the window. The glass doesn't shatter cleanly. It explodes into shards and tingling noises. I quickly use the antler to try to sweep away the larger pieces of glass, but the opening is small and jagged and looks too narrow for a clean escape. Suddenly, I hear a high-pitched whirring sound coming from the hall, accompanied by a booming, metallic voice over the speakers. Intruder alert, intruder alert. An early warning system is activated, and he will know my exact location. Oh my gosh. I'm standing next to the jagged window. Should I initiate opposite action? Instead of freezing, I'm going to start to run towards the fireplace tongs, which are closer to the window than the antler. And I'm going to use it to knock out the remaining glass shards. Or should I filter out the alarm noise and calmly filter out the alarm noise and focus intensely on any faint external sounds to see if I can hear any cars outside. That might offer more insight about where I am in the house. Should I look around and listen? B. Or should I get the fireplace tongs? A. A, the fireplace tongs. All right. I know that I can't afford to freeze, so I quickly grab the tongs, and using the pointed end, I knock away all the rest of the chips of the glass, the very glassy glass. The alarm is still shrieking, intruder alert, intruder alert. Oh, I realize that the opening of the glass is so small, but it's starting to chase after me. I hear something coming down the hall, thunk, thunk, thunk. I'm at the window. Should I carefully try to shimmy my way through the window? Or should I jump through as fast as I can, maybe injuring myself? Slow or fast? A is slow, B is fast. I got B. All right, I quickly dive through the window, super quickly. Oh my gosh, but unfortunately I didn't realize how high up the window is. I fall 10 feet down to the ground, and I'm now on the ground, but free, very dazed. I can see a dark pine forest just 20 feet from the house, and I can hear something from the other side of the window above me. Okay, should I use a handful of freezing mud to smear on my face as camouflage, or should I quickly crawl towards the dark forest, delaying physical, calming? Should I quickly crawl to the dark forest, or should I use mud camouflage? Mud camouflage is A, and crawling is B. A. Good idea. A good mud camouflage is always a good idea. I know that the shock of the fallen cold can lead to a systematic takedown. So by using the cold mud on my face, I'm actually using something called temperature shift, which is a DBT skill of therapy. Ignoring the pain in my arms, I frantically start scooping the freezing, gritty mud all over me, and that's kind of waking me up, snapping me out of my daze. Excellent choice. I can hear the doorway of the house click, and the door swings inward. I see a shadow falling across the lawn. I'm scrambling away, covered in mud, towards the dense pine forest 20 feet away. The forest promises instant life-saving cover, but I know there might be booby traps. Oh no, or further threats in there. I hear a voice coming from the doorway. Johanna, don't be a runaway. The woods are dark, and I've left a few little presents in the forest. Oh no. What should I do? Should I dive into the nearest patch of grass and bushes for concealment? Or should I take a moment to challenge the feeling of being doomed and really do some inner mindfulness work? Should I do A, dive into the bush, or B, do some inner work before I make any rash decisions? got A. All right, let's do A. I know that I should not stop right now. There is some strange person who's kidnapped me right behind me. So I dive into the dark woods. Phew. Suddenly, the person comes out of the doorway holding a large, archaic-looking crossbow, and he is casually aiming it in my direction. I dive even further deeper into the foliage, but then I notice my ankle catching on something. A tripwire. Oh no. Placed perfectly to catch a runner. I stumble, my shoulder slamming into the ground, and a small metallic click sounds from the wire's anchor point. Oh no. The person standing on the lawn whips his head around. "You can't hide from Tandy," he says. Tandy, that's his name. I'm lying on the ground, caught in the wire. Should I label the feeling that I'm having? Or, oh, bye Milton, thanks for joining. Or, should I start to hum a low, calming noise to ground myself? What do you think? A, label this feeling, or B, activate vocal toning so I can relax? A or B? Label the feeling or humming? B. Okay, thank you, Demi. A great choice. Let's see what that does for me. I know that any sudden movement now will cost me everything. So I focus on the subtle art of regulation by activating vocal toning. A low, steady, almost silent hum vibrates through me, targeted at self-soothing so I can focus properly at the task at hand. And by calming my nerves, I slowly, meticulously lifts and slides my ankle backward off of the wire. Whew! I've escaped the wire, finally. The moment my foot touches the ground, I hear a loud Tandy has fired the crossbow. A bolt flies where my head was just seconds ago, sending up sprays of dirt. He hasn't figured out where my exact position is in the dark, but I have to know that he knows my general area, and I can hear him reloading. This is not good for me. So what should I do? I feel pinned down by Tandy's arrows. Should I... Oh my gosh. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Tandy's firing. Okay. Please make that... Okay, so I'm crawling away here. The terrain is rough, cold, wet grass, and suddenly you can hear and see a powerful floodlight mounted on the corner of the house clicks on. He hasn't spotted me yet, but I need to get away from this light. Should I roll into the shadow of a large oak tree, or should I press myself flatly like a bug on the ground? What should I choose, A or B? C. Oh my gosh, what would C be? A. Okay. I'm rolling. I prioritize concealment, trusting the principles of cover and shadow. I immediately take a roll, and the moment I disappear from the light, Tandy fires through the air, and it embeds in the spot I was just at. Oh my. I'm safe for the moment, pressed against the rough bark of the oak. So I can see Tandy just outside of my vision. He is looking around, muttering to himself, trying to locate me. I see a woodpile is now 30 feet away, across the small stretch of the open ground. The safety of the forest edge is 30 feet in the opposite direction. Should I commit to a straight dash across the lawn to the woodpile? Or should I try to crawl forward around the base of the oak, heading directly for the safety of the forest's edge? Dash is A and B is crawl. B. Excellent. Like, not C again. Let's do B. We be crawling. All right. I'm using my therapist powers to know that dashing, this girl is not meant for dashing. Okay, we're gonna do some crawling instead. So I start to protectively crawl silently around the oak tree to try to get to the edge of the pine forest, which offers more of a deep cover. I'm slowly crawling. Tandy is still scanning the open lawn near the crossbow bolt. He's this big guy with lots of red hair and a big beard, and I can smell him from here, wearing some big overalls too. I can hear him shouting, "Fine, have it your way, therapist. Let's see how you like my garden paths." What could it mean? Only one way to find out. I'm now fully concealed in the forest. Should I make a plan first by securing a length of dead branch as a walking stick and weapon? Or should I quickly look around the environment, seeing if I can find any booby traps? What do you guys think? A or B? Weapon or look for booby traps? B it is. Let's do it. We gotta look around for booby traps. That just makes sense to me. Good choice. I know that rushing around would be a mistake. So I commit to resource inventory and auditory awareness. I gotta make sure that I'm really keeping present and focused. So I listen very carefully and closely. And I can hear Tandy retreating away. He appears to be moving left, parallel to the house, likely aimed towards a forest entrance or a trap network. I take a look around. The ground here is too neat. The pine needles are strangely smoothed over in what looks like a path, and a few small broken twigs look unnaturally snapped, almost like someone wants her to take a step, wants me to take a step in that certain way. Interesting. So it appears that there's a path. Should I make a decision to move towards the tangle of roots and bush, accepting the slower pace and noisy movement, or should I take the manufactured trail, which might have booby traps? What do you guys think? A, keep going through the bush, or B, take the trail? A? All right. A it is. The forest floor is a noisy nightmare of grasping vines and hidden logs. I move slowly forward, using my deep breathing to calm myself down. I know the situation that I am in is very dire. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it out, so I start to say my goodbyes. I tell myself, goodbye, family. Goodbye, Demi the faceless roommate, wherever you are, whatever universe you're in. But then I notice something. I'm starting to distract myself with all these goodbyes. Focus! Focus! This is why therapists will do great in scary movies, okay? We're very good at bringing ourselves back to the present moment. So I start to see 20 feet into the dense woods. I see a black cable running to the ground. It leads to a few feet away to a heavy steel tripod supporting a motion-activated night camera. That's something that a lot of hunters use, to see any animals around. Okay. Tandy is watching his traps, I think, remotely. If I trip on the cable, I'll definitely be seen. So I am crouched, hiding. Should I carefully reach into my pocket, which miraculously holds a nail file that I had completely forgotten about until then, and attempt to saw through the camera cable, disabling the surveillance, but risking the snapping noise of the metal wire? That is A. Or B, should I backtrack silently, taking a slower route around the camera's vision? Cut the wire, A, or B, go around? You think my spirit animal is a hedgehog? Close, it's a fox. All right, we are going to cut the camera thing. Uh-oh. So I start to saw through. I start to saw through the cable. I'm slowly making our way. It's slow moving, but I finally began to do it. And unfortunately, just as the cable is almost severed, I hear the sound of an ATV or a dirt bike starting up somewhere deep in the forest. I could decide that it is Tandy, or it might be somebody else. But then all of a sudden, the camera cable snaps with a ping, and the green light on the camera dies. I'm exposed, but the camera is disabled, and the ATV is coming fast. Should I activate auditory awareness to filter out the ATV noise and focus on the surrounding terrain so I can hear something else happening? Or should I immediately initiate a full sprint away? Should I surveillance, A, or B, take a sprint? A. All right. A it is. Let's see what happens. I start to listen carefully, filtering out the roar of the engine to pinpoint the ATV's trajectory. I scan the ground, and I spot a wide ravine, a deep, irregular drainage ditch full of tangled roots and rocks. This terrain might be impossible for a heavy vehicle. King, it's a little bit of both. So the ATV is tearing through the woods, its head beam slicing through the trees. I'm standing 10 feet from this ravine with the ATV almost here. Should I take a huge sprinting leap across the ravine and to the far bank, trusting my momentum will carry me, but risking injury? Or should I drop into the bottom of the ravine itself and curl up beneath a boulder, hoping that he doesn't spot me? Should I jump or hide? A or B? B. Excellent. Let's go. I trust the element of concealment and a noise buffer of the deep ditch. I jump down, scrambling behind the big rock thing, and the ATV roars overhead with a rush of air and blinding flash of light as its tires churn just inches above. The noise is immense, and I can hear Tandy yelling at me. Tandy is saying, "Check the main path. She's too fast for the woods." Rawr. Oh my gosh. I've just escaped detection. Good work, you guys. That was a close one. Phew. So I'm still hidden under the boulder in the ravine. Should I choose to calm myself? No. Hold on, you guys. I need to edit this real quick. Okay. So we are starting to run away from the boulder. Here we go. I'm starting to run, weaving silently between the large trees. I see a faint, pale stripe ahead. What is that? Ah, it's the main road. The forest is ending. Freedom is within sight, perhaps 50 yards away. I can hear the distant, reassuring sound of traffic, which is very good. But then suddenly, directly behind me, much closer than the ATV, I hear the snapping of a twig and a soft thud. Tandy has doubled back on foot, tracking my movements silently. He is now less than 20 yards behind me and closing in fast. I am 50 yards from the main road. Should I choose to make a conscious decision to bolt straight ahead, or should I quickly make a plan, hide, and then go, betting that he will overshoot me? Should I run or plan? A or B? A. Excellent. I start to run. Run! Tandy's behind me. He can't be that fast, can he? So I start to run, refusing to hide. I burst out of the forest onto the narrow gravel shoulder on the main road. I spin around just as Tandy, a dark, bulky figure, emerges from the trees behind me, holding something heavy and metal. I immediately jump onto the road, waving my arms wildly, shouting, "Help! Help!" I'm standing in the middle of the road, and Tandy is 10 yards behind me, closing the distance quickly. Should I quickly develop a simple plan, run directly into a truck's path to force it to stop, risking severe injury, and plan B, sprint across the road to the opposite side into the trees? Or should I use a primal scream of absolute terror to ensure the truck driver sees me and understands the gravity of the situation? A is jump ahead, or B is to scream my head off. B. Excellent. So I start to yell. Rah! The trucker reacts instantly. He sees me. The massive headlights. The trucker slams on the brake and jackknives. Rah! And almost tips over, but doesn't quite. I'm knocked over by the pressure wave coming from the truck, narrowly missing the truck's enormous front bumper. The trucker, a bewildered burly man, is leaning out his window. What in tarnation? That very moment, Tandy breaks through the tree line, emerging onto the road shoulder, less than 5 yards from me. I have to explain the situation quickly. Should I just tell him to let me into the truck, or B, try to explain the situation? Oh, A. I say, let me in the truck. I'm running, and I jump in to the truck. I say, slam on the gas, and we start to drive away. We've made our escape. Whew. Oh my goodness, you guys, that was a close one. So, mission successful. We've escaped Tandy's taxidermy horror, as I like to call this story that I've just created. I hope you guys enjoyed that fun game. It was absolutely ridiculous, and I just wanted to do something silly and fun for you guys. Again, my name's Johanna. I am a therapist for Canadians, so feel free to book a session with me if you'd like to give it a shot. If you guys really like this, let me know. Thanks, Cody. I really appreciate that. We can definitely do this again. Hi, Erin. It'd be a lot of fun to try out some new stories if you guys have any ideas. I kind of like doing, definitely like the pick your own adventures. I think could be a thing we do every week. If you guys like that, okay, yeah, you guys are into it. That's wonderful. I do therapy in Canada, virtual therapy. So unfortunately, I can't do too many therapy sessions outside of it because of the rules and regulations. So I keep it pretty simple, just Canadians, other than Quebec, as we mentioned in our last live stream, because they have different qualifications that you need to do that, which I don't have. Aaron, you left a suggestion in the comments of the last video. Sure, I'll check it out. Sorry I didn't see it. Sometimes I just get a lot of different ones, and sometimes YouTube doesn't do very well at like letting me know when people comment. They kind of disappear at times, so I do apologize. I typically don't delete comments unless they're inappropriate. How long have I been a therapist for? Not too long, actually. I just graduated in December with my master's. Before that, I was doing clinical hypnosis, so most of my awesome subscribers love me for hypnosis, and now they get to love me for therapy too, and weird adventure stories. I tried to put, it's funny, I tried to put like a therapeutic spin on it, but I think maybe I gotta figure out a better way to incorporate that into the stories, or just do silly stories. I'm okay with that too. It's something fun to all do together, right? Like as a community. Oh, Rex, that's amazing. Yeah, check out my website then, multitherapy.co. Give it a click and we can talk. What was your favorite part when you were hypnotized to do stage hypnosis? Oh my gosh, that is a great question. What kind of therapy do you specialize in? Oh, I do. Demi, I think you know what kind of therapy I specialize in. I specialize in like relationship therapy mostly. I do work with like anxiety, stress management. I do all sorts of different virtual therapy. you can check on my website. I list it there kind of in detail what I can and can't do. I typically leave some things out because I don't have enough training yet, so I don't feel like competent or comfortable doing things. Yeah, so check that out. I guess roleplay can be therapeutic. Oh, absolutely. There's this thing called empty chair therapy, actually, where in therapy I say, hey, let's imagine that the person that you're like traumatized you is in this chair. What would you tell them if you could just let it all out? Super therapeutic. A lot of people have like parent issues, right? Like mom issues or dad issues, and they can't fully get everything out of their chest of what they want to say to their parents. So the empty chair technique is really therapeutic, where you just kind of like dump all of that emotional things that you'd like to say to them but can't or won't, just to get it out of your system, right? Yeah, it's basically a way to get it off your chest, and then you can even go further and say like, what would you want them to respond like, even though you know they'll never respond that way, right? Because that way you get a deeper understanding of what you want out of that, right? So for example, if your mom really neglected you as a kid, and you know that if you told all of this stuff to your mom directly, you just get more neglect because she doesn't have like the emotional capacity to give you what you want, right? So by this way in therapy, if you said all that stuff to the empty chair, imagine your mom was there, and then imagining that she was the parent that you needed at that time, that's like a way of saying, okay, that's what I actually need. I'm using my imagination to basically give me the keys to heal. It's like, okay, what I needed was emotional support or love or whatever, what have you. And that way you know what to incorporate into your future more yourself. You kind of reparent yourself, because sometimes that's the only option you have, right? Like, you gotta heal yourself. And obviously, I'm here to support you, facilitate that journey. But yeah, what do you guys think of that? Thanks, GS. I'm glad you think so. I didn't come up with it, by the way. I don't invent the therapeutic techniques, it's all from other people. Alright, guys. Well, I think I will call it then. That was a lot of fun. It was a little experimental, and I appreciate you all coming in and supporting that adventure. I'm sure there will be others in the future. I hope you all have a great night, and take care. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, guys.